Hello everyone, Guillaume Lesueur here, host of the E-Commerce Wizards podcast, where I feature leaders in e-commerce and business. Today's guest is Gibb. He's the CEO and founder of Cloudsponge. Today's topic will be growth tactics for e-commerce. Specifically, Jay will tell us about word of mouth, referral, and sharing. We have a shout out to Interview Vale, who connected Jay and I. All right, Jay, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Guillaume.
Can you give us a brief overview of your journey as an entrepreneur before we dive into the topic?
Yeah, sure. I'm originally from Canada as well, actually, from Calgary. And I went to technical school there to be learn how to be a software developer. And then, after, I don't know, probably about 6 or 7 years of being a software developer, I decided to, basically become a founder, an entrepreneur, start my own company, and eventually led to Cloudsponge, as we're here to talk about today. And that, it's a long it's a long meandering journey of about 25 years long at this point, and so it's hard to summarize in a word, but we're at a stage now where, it's a nice, stable company, and I'm enjoying the journey, and surrounded by a great team of people that I've assembled along the way.
Okay. And maybe to help people also understand that this is sort of your core expertise and core offering, word of mouth, referrals, and sharing. Can you explain, like in 30 seconds, like what Cloudsponge does?
I sure can, yeah. So the easiest way to imagine it or to think about it is it all starts with just one button. You can just imagine on any website, think about your own website, where we can give you a button that says add from address book. A lot of times the button might have a little icon on it that looks like an address book icon. And when your users click that button, it gives them a way to use their own address book, like from Google Contacts or Yahoo Contacts or Outlook.com or Office 365 or wherever they store their contacts. It gives them a way to use their contacts, use their address book while they're still on your website, right? And so most of the time, the reason why they're doing that on an e-commerce website is to populate, instead of typing out a comma-separated list of email addresses for a referral form, right? Or, throwing them out to a mail-to link on a product page, they can use their own address book on your site without leaving the site to be able to do things like sharing and, just spreading the word-of-mouth features for your site or for your products or for your referral program using the address book, right? And so we focus 100% of our energy on having those integrations with all of the world's address book. We've got about 40 of them, maybe 30 of them right now, depending on how you count it. And so we have those. We normalize all the payloads, and then we kind of boil it all up into a little JavaScript snippet that you can put on your website to basically multiply the performance of your existing sharing features.
Right. So the idea being that, let's say I'm on a website and perhaps there's some kind of promotion, get some loyalty points, discount something if I share this to some friends. And then instead of having to remember each of my friends' email, I click this button. I'm going to sort of, I guess, log into my Outlook or something like that. And then I can just start pulling and clicking my contacts and typing in. It's going to autofill all my friends' email there, so I can share to them.
Yep, you got it.
Because otherwise, yeah, it will reduce for sure the sharing if you have to remember all the email from everybody, and you might not want to type all that stuff.
Yeah, well, and as a store owner, you don't really want your users to go open up a different application or a different tab window to copy and paste stuff and hope that they come back, right?
Yeah.
And it's especially painful if the user is on a mobile device, right? If they're on an iPhone or an Android phone, the process of going back and forth and copying and pasting things is 2 or 3 times harder than it is on a desktop, right? And so we take all that pain and we make it go away by just allowing those people to just use their address book without going anywhere.
So interesting to me that you've built a sustainable business for all those years based on such a niche, narrowed down product
Yeah.
offering as a sort of, share to all your friends, share to your contact button that you can add on any platform and integrates with all the address book there. So that's what you're living every day. That's your core business there. So okay, sure, people could add your tool there, your button. But if we go further than that, what kind of tactics would you have to share with e-commerce stores, managers, or owners about like word of mouth, referrals, and sharing?
Right. So we integrate with a bunch of different referral program platform like providers, right? We don't offer the referral program functionality, right? We don't send emails or issue unique codes or do any fraud, mitigation or any of that kind of stuff. That's what all of our partners do. And so we get to kind of see it's an interesting view on the industry, right? We get to see lots of different e-commerce stores and lots of different referral program providers, and using that, I get to kind of see what's working, I guess. And one of the things that I would encourage from a tactical perspective, first of all, anybody who's got an e-commerce store that doesn't have something like this should really think about doing it as far as referral programs. And what I mean by that is a double-sided referral program where your customer, the person who's already purchased something from you and probably loves your product, where they can refer your store or a specific product to others and get some kind of benefit for doing that, right? And the referral that gets sent to the new customer, that's the double-sided part, is they would also need to get something. So, just to put it into an example, you might say, um, you know, if any of your friends purchase a product, they'll get $10 off their order. And when they make a purchase, you'll get $10 off your next order. So it also becomes like a customer retention, like repeat purchase thing. Now somebody's got, a $10 credit burning a hole in their pocket, and they're excited to come back and use that, right? And so all of the best e-commerce, sort of use cases that I've observed, that's one of the things they all have in common is they all have some kind of double-sided referral program, right? To make sure that those super fans, the people that love their product, have an incentive and motivation to share, right? And some of those people are motivated by giving their friends a discount, and others are going to be motivated by earning their own discount. And that's why making it double-sided is really important.
Okay, yeah, so totally makes sense for this, and I've seen programs like this, like win with your friend kind of deals that, if your friends win or you win, you both win, regardless who through the win. So if you refer someone and your friend wins, then you'll get a win too. So it's sort of adding you one more ticket for the draw, sort of. So
Yep.
okay, all right. So that's for referring that everybody should have some kind of referral program in place, basically, and some kind of sharing features. And what else? What can they do to make sure that this thing works well? So first thing is a double side offer, as you're saying. What
Yep.
else?
So the one of the things that I see all the time that uh, I think is easy improvement is most e-commerce stores will have, that little envelope icon on a product page that nobody clicks on.
Yeah, so to email to.
You click on it and it opens a mail to link, like to your browser window. That can be easily improved, by basically making it do something that uses the address book, right? Make it so that when somebody clicks on it, and I would suggest to maybe change it from that envelope icon because I think people become kind of blind to that icon over time. But they can click it, and to be able to actually bring up an interface that lets them compose an email there, use their address book to select friends, or the person or the people that they want to share it with, and send those emails directly from your website instead of like popping them out to a different window or their email client, which they might not be expecting, right?
Yeah.
And you'll find that you'll get better compliance with a feature like that. And it's whether you use an address book or not. You don't need to use an address book for that. But even just to make it so that those icons will put your user into a sharing interface that's native, where they can type in an email address, or obviously I hope that they would use an address book, but they don't have to, and then write their message and send it. At least that way, you as a store owner gets to send that message and include your brand with the message, include whatever your promotion might be that you want to share. It's just a lot more useful from a measurability perspective, and from just controlling your message and knowing a certain user did a certain thing. If you don't just sort of kick the user out to that mail to link, I see that far too often, and I think it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah. So in the first place, to as much as possible, not send the user off your platform or your e-commerce site. You keep them there. It's something that's like a pop-up in there, so they haven't lost your site. For sure, sounds like a good idea as much as possible. Don't make them leave your own site.
Yeah, that's the theme here, right? Is like, just keep people on your site when you're trying to get them to share something. Whatever you do, don't send them somewhere else to do it.
Okay, good point. All right.
This episode is brought to you by Mage-Montreal. If a business wants a powerful e-commerce online store that will increase their sales, or to move piled-up inventory to free up cash reserves, or to automate business processes to reduce human processing errors, our company, Mage-Montreal, can do that. We've been helping e-commerce stores for over a decade. Here's the catch. We're specialized and only work on the Adobe Magento e-commerce platform, also known as Adobe Commerce. We're among only a handful of certified companies in Canada. We do everything Magento-related. If you know someone who needs design, support, training, maintenance, or a new e-commerce website, email our team at support@MageMontreal.com or go to MageMontreal.com. That's MAGE Montreal.com.
What else do you have in mind?
There's a couple. One of the things that many, I guess it's kind of two versions of the same thing. A lot of e-commerce stores will have an add-on or a plugin or module for a wish list. Right?
Yeah.
And which is structurally very similar to a registry. Like some larger sites might have they have a huge catalog. They might have a gift registry where some like a bride to be might go and select a bunch of products and put them into a registry. And either way, it's kind of it's a wish list, right? It's just a different sort of more formal use case for a wish list. In either case, the whole thing with the wish list and a registry is the point of it is for other people to see it, right? The point of it, and so as a part of that function, you need to have some way, especially if it's a registry and you potentially have, hundreds of recipients of this registry. You need to have a convenient way for your user who put together the list of products to share that, right? And again, far too often I see these wish list features that it's basically it's a wish list for yourself, and they don't have even if they do have the concept of making your wish list public, for example, my kids in my Amazon account, I'll make each of them a public wish list like around Christmas time, so that all the people in my family that ask me like, what can I get for your kids? I can share those lists with them and say, just go pick something, right? And tell me what you chose, so I can take it off the list, right? And even there, the sharing part of the wish list functionality is pretty clumsy, right? It could be a lot better. It could be better by actually having a sharing function where you can type in or use an address book to input the email addresses of the people that you want to have receive it and include a message. And it's another one of those places where, sharing functionality in sort of the boilerplate e-commerce stores that I see can be easily improved.
Right. It's true that by default, it's always a personal wish list, not a public one or made to be shared. So it's an opportunity if you make lists that can be shared, especially if you upgrade it to a registry. Then there's the obvious use case, the bride. Then you have other use case like baby showers and so on, like everything that the couple needs for the new baby. And then you don't want to receive, 3 strollers. So as soon as someone buys it, then, it's taken off the list and so on. So that is indeed something that there's room for improvement and standardization. I don't know how much could increase business depending on the industry and so on, but for sure to have wish lists have more of a sharing mindset when they're built and added more than just a personal mindset could be interesting for some percentage of sales increase in some industry.
Yep. Yeah, and finally, the last one is it's kind of similar to the first one with the referral program, the double-sided referral program, and it's more of a single-sided version of that, where again, a lot of e-commerce stores will have a way to send coupons, right? And it's just one side, right? You're sending something to, you love a certain product, and your friend just mentioned that they have the problem that this product solves, or they're in the market for this product. And you say, "Oh, wait, hang on, I can send you a coupon for that." And you want to make it really easy for somebody to come to your site, find the product, send the coupon. And that, again, that if you don't have a way for somebody to send those coupons, it's again a kind of a softball. It's an easy win to be able to add, whatever, a 5% off or a $10 coupon or something like that, so that your customers that love you and that want to tell people about your products, have like a thing to anchor that, a place to do it, a reason to do it. As long as they're aware that they can send a coupon, that's a pretty low customer acquisition cost. It's going to most likely be cheaper than other customer acquisition channels that you're paying for.
Right. So sharing coupon codes could be a good way. So sometimes coupon codes are a bit seen too much by some merchants as something like, oh, I don't want people to have it too much because it's going to take in my margin. But I'd rather have, the McDonald's approach on this. That McDonald's will not ask you to give your coupon. They say, like, keep it. You can come back with it also. They want the volume aspect of it. And for sure, share it with your friends and make everybody come to the store with that coupon. So that can be the mindset regarding this. So sure, they have it at least 10% off. 5% would only work if you have a really super expensive thing. Typically, it's more like 10-15% off that will really draw people and up. And yeah, for sure, sharing coupon codes or making it so you send this to a friend as value. It's like, hey, get this percentage off. So you're adding value to the relationship with your friend. You're sending them something that might be valuable, save them money. So yeah.
You mentioned cutting into the margin, and I think that is true in some cases. But the way that I think about it is that it's either way, you've got a customer acquisition cost, unless all of your customers are just coming to you organically, which is very unusual, or that doesn't happen often. You probably got some kind of spreadsheet or some metrics where you're tracking customer acquisition costs, and you're keeping track of your ad spending and other things like that. And I think that this goes into that spreadsheet rather than going into like the unit economics and the margin, like the profit margin on the product. I think it's something like a coupon or the second side of a double-sided referral program belongs more so in the customer acquisition category than the unit economics category.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. Any last thought before we wrap up?
All of this that I've just been talking about is in a PDF. It'll be on. I'll make a landing page on www.cloudsponge.com/ecommerce wizards that your audience can go to, and there'll be a downloadable PDF there. That's basically like an audit where you can take a look at it and sort of check off the stuff that exists and audit the sort of UI of those things, and then get on my calendar to do a consultation and have a chat about it and see if there's any ideas that I can provide sort of on an individual basis.
All right. Well, thank you, Jay, for being here today.
Great. Thanks for having me, Guillaume.